Hi there, and welcome to the Homestead Education Podcast. Do you have a homestead, farm, or just dream of a rural life? This is a show to help you and your kids grow your own food and grow as a person. I'm your host, Kody Hanner. I'm a homesteader, homeschool mom of six, and small town enthusiast. I was raised by an old school rancher and blessed by the grace of God to have been exposed to so much of what rural life has to offer. Join me every week to talk about homesteading, homeschooling, and growth with a homestead education. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Homestead Education Podcast. Today I have Rose Campos here with me, who she is getting ready to host a new homesteading event over in Montana, which we have desperately been needing one in that area. So I am excited to have her on today to chat about how that got going. So, hi, Rose.
Hi, Kody. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about you and, like, kind of what brought you and your family to homesteading.
Well, I come from fifth generation farming, which goes all the way back to farming before all the chemical additives. So I grew up knowing nothing but natural farming. And it's hard to even put a label on it because it's the way it was back then. Now everything's got to have a label in order for you to understand what it is. But um, I was fortunate enough to
Back
come
when
up.
food was food.
Well, yeah, there wasn't any of these buzz tags attached to any of it. You knew what you were eating was good for you, and you didn't question it past that. But I have sat back for years and gut-wrenchingly watched the the farming environment disintegrate before my eyes.
Hey guys, I know that we are always looking for ways to connect our homeschool kids with our communities and find things to do when we're out and about. Plus, it is so important to be connecting with like-minded families and those that have the same interests that we do. That's why I'm so excited to announce the new app that just launched. Basecamp Ed is a community-based platform for parents to find like-minded families and dedicated teachers in their area. Whether you homeschool your children, are curious about it, or simply want to build a community of extracurricular activities, Basecamp Ed has you covered. Connect with local parents to create co-ops, form groups for your children's interests, and use the calendar to schedule events with ease. Teachers and coaches can also create profiles to list their credentials for parents to find a way to supplement subjects and activities. Homeschooling was never meant to be done alone. It takes a village. Build it with Basecamp Ed. Take advantage of this free resource and download it today. You can also follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Basecamp Ed app for the latest updates. And you can get the link to that in the show notes for this episode.
Into a poisonous commodity. And I just didn't know. It was hard to sit back and watch this. And some personal events with my husband and I happened, and things kind of shifted for us, and things were kind of brought to me that I needed to start pulling something together to change the direction in where the food sources were coming from, and how to gather the people who were growing good food together in Montana, because Montana is rich with folks who are actually raising and growing food that is clean, and they're
Mm-hmm.
not using chemicals, pesticides, GMOs, glyphosate, any of the things that's being used to produce our food nowadays. So anyway, it just one thing led to another, and using my background from corporate, um, I started putting those skills and talents together, and put this event together, and just started reaching out to people, and the response was overwhelming. I was actually getting more people than I could accommodate in a 2-day weekend
Oh,
to
wow.
want to be speakers in this event. So we've already got a waiting list started for next year of people wanting to take speaking slots for next year, and be exhibitors and be involved in it. So it it lit a fire, and we're so great. I'm so grateful. My husband and I are grateful that everybody has embraced what it is that our hearts wanted to do to bring this community together to support each other. Because, as you well know, it's very isolating,
Hmm.
and you don't have a lot of people to go to reach out to for answers, and sometimes you struggle through processes and find out that it didn't work or was a harder way, and but there really is an easier way. So that's what I want to do, is bring together this community so that people can share the shortcuts and successes of doing homesteading and farming and ranching in the small version in a challenging environment in the northern tier states, because nobody's talking about these challenges. And it's a very different arena when you're trying to raise livestock and grow food in a garden and put it on your table in these colder climates. And I noticed that nobody was talking about this. So that's kind of where all this came about, is we're going
Well,
to bring things to the table. They need to be talked about to where it can make life easier for those who are in homesteading, and also those who would like to get started with it.
I think that's great. I mean, I have traveled to a lot of events across the country, and you can pick up a homestead or farm to table type event in like on the East Coast or in the South every weekend if you wanted to.
Mhm.
Some of them are smaller, some of them are larger, but there's so many and it's wonderful. But we're just not getting that same type of traction on the West Coast or up north that and we need it because there's just as many people looking at small scale agriculture and homesteading and building community here as there are in the South. Just again, I think it's that we're so far apart and we're so isolated that it's harder to bring those community events together. So I'm always so excited when I see them happening.
Well, then it's different challenges. I mean, you have different conditions in the South and in the East.
Mm-hmm.
And the conditions in the northern tier states are very volatile. Montana alone has 4 growing zones in it, going
Mm-hmm.
from west to east. So depending on where you live, you deal with different challenges. And that's what people are finding hard to get information about. Fortunately, we've got um, the Missoula Fruit Tree Company coming in, and all he does, Luke specializes in all cold hardy fruit trees, berry bushes, all food producing trees and bushes. That's all he deals with.
Oh, I can't wait to chat with him.
He's going to have 3 different talks about 3 different, or two, no, he's got 2 different talks that he's going to talk about um, how to get yourself set up in this northern tier area with these kinds of fruit and berry producing bushes and trees, which is was sorely needed because nobody, it's like, where do you go to find out? But Luke is an expert in this, and he'll be able to answer anybody's questions and point them in the right direction. I was just on his website this morning, and he's actually got a big markdown, not a markdown, but a special sale going on with packages that he can help you get started. So I would suggest that anybody go to Missoula Fruit Tree Company and look at his website, because he's got some beautiful stock, and he's worked hard to develop this, and he's a wealth of information as well.
That's really exciting. Yeah, do we want to, I would love to hear some of the other speakers that are coming, so that people kind of know what they're getting at your event.
Well, Mark Kamadi, he owns Flathead Permaculture, and he's going to do 3 talks on implementing different types of permaculture on your property, and it's tailored and customized to your property. So it's not a one size fits all. What your neighbor does is going to be different than what you do. Um, and so he's going to be talking about the permaculture, and he's very knowledgeable as well too, as far as creating food forests and how to make the best use of your land. Again, he will work well in tandem with what Luke has with the fruit tree company. and I know that they do business together as well too. So they'll be able to fill in a lot of gaps for people with planting things that you can create a heritage for your family later on in generations, that it's not just a one-shot deal with planting a garden and then you harvest it and it's done. Planting these trees and bushes is generational, and it's things that your family can grow with as generations get older. So it's there for the long run and not for the short term.
That,
We've also,
yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say that's another one I'd like to go check out because our farm was a generational farm before we bought it, and we're trying
Mhm.
to keep the plants that are here and build more, and that would be a very interesting chat to have. So yeah,
Well,
oh, sorry.
yeah, we had that on our farm that I was raised on. We had huge walnut grove, and of course it was back in the Midwest, but that was a cash crop for our family every
Mm-hmm.
year. I mean, we would load up pickup truck bed loads of walnuts, and where we lived, they actually you hauled them in, and then they took the hulls off and they paid you for them. But that those trees were old. And there's no telling how many crops those trees produced in over the lifetime, but they're generational crops. So it's things like the nut trees are something that your future generations of family can actually have a harvest off of, that is there for the long run. And that's the kind of background that my husband and I come from, is is generational uh, food forest, basically. It's what it's called
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. And you have that for many, many generations to come, that it's there for them to benefit from. Um, that's I hope there's a lot of conversation about those types of things, because that's was part of the older generation of farming that was very important. Hedgerows around your fields, they were all producers of rose hips. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
hedgerows had the roses, and everybody knew that the rose hips were nutritional, not only for the family on the farm, but also for the livestock as well too. So there's a lot of different conversations that I know people aren't talking about in other areas, that we're going to have an opportunity to open some of these old-fashioned conversations and bring more of that back on the table, to where people can start implementing some of these very simple, low maintenance things that they can start adding to their homesteads.
Yeah,
We've
I'd
got
really love to see everyone just tries to have like they try, I use that in quotations, to have like the beautiful home manicured homestead. And the thing is, for
mm,
one, that's not really feasible, but
no,
also a lot of it, what is deemed messy at this point is all the things that made the whole farm work together properly.
hmm yeah, it's our farm that I was raised on was very low maintenance. It's not, it wasn't what farming has turned itself into now, where you're in debt up to your eyeballs, and you're working 24 hours a day every single day of the week. And our farm wasn't like that. It was very hands off. Things were put in place long before I was ever around, and we lived off of that. And it wasn't stressful. It was a very simple, calm way of living. Um, and I hate to see the folks who are trying to get started in it now, that are just making it so labor intensive when it doesn't have to be.
Hmm.
Um, some things, yes, you have to put your labor into it, but not like I'm seeing a lot of people who are working from sunup to sundown, and then even past sundown. That's
Yeah.
not how it used to be years and years ago.
Although I'll admit, with
Everybody,
the mosquitoes, I have been out there weeding my garden after dark because that's the better time to do it.
right? You have to be adaptable to the
Yes.
seasons. Going back to the speakers, we've got Glenn Elzinga coming in.
Mm, yeah.
He runs and owns Alder Springs down in southern Idaho ranch,
Yes,
where
I've
they
been by
raise
there.
He's a wealth of information. He sent me an email yesterday, and he's actually going to be uh, talking with some conservation district in the western part of Montana the day before he's with us. So he's making he's making himself known in western Montana as well too. But he's an expert in land regeneration and raising grass-fed, grass-finished beef to
Yeah, they have
where it
it's Alder Springs, right?
Alder Springs Ranch, yeah,
Yes. I
thousands of
follow them
acres.
on I follow them on Instagram and I very much enjoy seeing what they do and what they have to teach.
You should subscribe to him because I think it's every Friday he sends out a letter of his thoughts, just
Uh-huh.
thoughts that come to him. And but he's such a wealth of information. They actually, him and his wife started out as small homesteaders
Hmm.
when the girls were young, and it's grown into this humongous business now. Um, and he told me, he said sometimes he wished that they would go back to the simple small homesteading because this has gotten so big. But he will be able to answer literally anybody's questions as far as regenerating the soil, how to go about it. He does a lot of testing on his soil. I know that. A lot of land management. But he's kind of like the grandfather here in the West of how to bring health back into the soil. And he's got a good track record on how he can help people do that. And that's what he does. And he wants to do more of that from what I understand from going back and forth with him, that he wants to be able to help as many people as possible. So it's going to be good to hear what he has to be able to offer up as far as his knowledge as well. Um, Daniel Soliton is going to be there. He's going to be doing a live chicken processing demonstration.
He's
Um,
fun to watch.
he's he's told me he's not going to do it himself. He's going to pull people out of the audience and they're going to process, but he's going to show them how to do it the proper way.
Oh,
So
good.
it's
Him
going
and
to
my
be
husband really hit it off and they enjoy getting to hang out.
it's going to be very hands-on. So I'm looking forward. There's a lot of kids that I'm getting responses from parents that the kids actually want to be part of that and be picked to do that. So I'm like,
Oh, I mean, my kids love chicken processing, so.
yeah. So it's good to see the kids doing it because it's their future. That's what like I said, that's what I was hoping for. A lot of the kids would want to be involved in the stuff going on. Um, and then we've got the gentleman coming from Hand Hewn Farms. They're going to be doing a live pig butchering and processing from beginning to end through the 2 days. Um, Abraxas Farms has donated a Mangalista pig that they're going to be processing during the event. Um, I was impressed when I talked to these guys because they've actually gone to great lengths to learn the old world way of processing the meat.
Hmm.
More of the
They
Italian.
do they bring like 2-year-old aged bruschetta to events sometimes and slice it right off. It
Mhm.
is so good.
It's that's where my husband comes from. My husband's Mediterranean. So when we heard that these guys were doing it the Mediterranean way, it was like, oh well, yes, we absolutely want you guys there.
Right.
So
And so many people are dying to learn how to like process not just the chickens, but the large animals. I mean, we are getting ready to process a hog here on our property. We do it a couple times a year. We raise
mhm,
about 350 hogs a year, but we do a couple for ourselves every year. And
mhm,
we have a list of people that want to come that day to help. And I'm like, then let's just let's do an old-fashioned hog processing. Bring food and your kids and let's get a couple done. And
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm going to teach that many people, you can bring lunch.
Just do an old fashioned potluck.
Yep.
That's the way we used to do things on the farm. If you had to get together for something that needed to be done, everybody just brought a plate, brought potluck, and then everybody ate afterwards. It's just that's I'm it warms my heart to see these things coming back,
Hmm.
because that's the world I was raised in.
Yep.
So it is happening. It's for everybody that was criticized for decades, old fashioned is not the way of the world. Well, I'm sorry, but old fashioned is the way of the world. Everybody has found out the new way of the world doesn't work so much. Everybody's reverting back to the way I was raised. And
Yep.
because it's easier on the soul. It's not you're not chasing your tail on a hamster wheel in
Hmm.
in the old fashioned world like you are in the modern world. And I think that's what people are sick of. They're sick of getting up and going to a job that they hate. And a lot more people are thinking about going back to the country again, which is a real good thing in my estimation. Um, so anyway, I'm looking forward to those guys being there and people seeing how meat can be cured without all of the chemicals and the additives, um, because they are doing it the old-fashioned Mediterranean way, which warms our heart tremendously. That these guys are teaching other people how to do that. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think of who else is. Of course, you're going to be there. You and your
I'm going to be
husband.
there. My
Yes.
husband and I
Well,
are very excited to be sharing our story of, we call it Good Food and Stubborn Wives, because he wanted nothing to do with everything I was trying to do to make him healthy after his liver disease diagnosis. And after 6 years, he said, I'm glad I listened to my stubborn wife.
mhm. Mama always knows better.
Right?
I'm anxious to hear what you guys have to teach, and then you're going to also be
Yeah.
talking about homeschooling.
Yep, we're going to be doing homeschooling on the homestead, which is a really great chat that I enjoy doing because it talks about how to embrace child-led learning while making sure the kids are still getting everything they need, which is when you're on the homestead, you're doing everything by hand, or you're working all the time, and you need to try to make time for your kids' education and to be working on the homestead and to integrate those two things without feeling like you're letting either of them go. Plus, I mean, kids just blossom when they're actually pursuing things that are hands-on and make sense to them.
Right, right. That's the best way for them to learn is with the
Yeah.
hands-on. I was looking through the list. I had to finally pull it up. We've got a gentleman by the name of David Knutson. He actually owns Montana Maple Works, and he's going to come and talk to folks about how you can actually tap trees in the northern tier states here. And he collects and processes his own maple syrup right in Montana. And I have said this for years that I think that I knew we could do this.
Hmm.
Um, so he's going to be talking to folks about what he does. I would hope that more avenues open up for him because he's looking for more places to where he can go to tap trees. So I hope that he is able to connect with more people to where he's actually able to have more locations to where he can actually go in and tap the trees, so that he has more product available because he's limited by what he's got right now. So I hope there's a huge door that opens up for him, by being part of the festival to where opportunities open up for him to be able to go produce more.
Yeah,
Um,
that's something we really looked into because if even in these northern areas, it's hard to do bees as well, and so having other sugar sources.
right, right. One of the Montana Homesteaders, she's been around for a long time. Annie, she was doing this long before anybody else was doing it. And she's kind of like the matriarch in Montana. She's going to be there speaking, and she's going to be talking about getting started with bees in the colder climates. So, and then she's also going to be talking about gardening in the colder climate as well too. Some of the tricks that she's learned through the years. She's a master gardener, and she's a wealth of knowledge. I could have her come to the festival for the next 10 years and she would still have stuff to talk about. She is just full of so much information that she's learned on her own. So these are the folks that we need to listen to, the ones that have been at it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Corey Marriott from Blue Alpine Freeze Dryers coming, and he's going to demo the freeze dryers that they build in southern Idaho, um, and answer a whole lot of questions for people about how what they can freeze dry, how to freeze dry it, all the questions that people have with these freeze dryers. It seems like they're not being used to the full capacity, and Corey's going to answer a lot of those questions. And he's going to have the freeze dryer available for people to touch and feel and look at. And one of the things that they're different from the other freeze drying companies is they offer financing on their freeze dryers. So it doesn't make it totally out of reach for people that do want one, that they'll work with you. And it's family owned. It's three brothers that own the company. They build everything in Montana or in Idaho. And when you call them up, you actually get one of them on the phone. You don't get a customer service. You talk to one of the guys that owns the company. And I love that about the company themselves. And they're just great people to not only learn from, but also to get your questions answered as well too. So lots of information that's going to be brought to the table during the event. We've got Jess Shine, and she is going to talk about midwifery, and bringing more of the undisturbed births back to the home the way it used to be. She's a wealth of knowledge as well too, so she's going to be able to answer a lot of questions for people. She has her own homestead. All of her kids were born at home. She homeschools. And she's another one that's got a heart for teaching, that wants to give her knowledge that she's learned to as many people as possible as well. All of the people, including you and your husband, that are part of the speakers in this event, I've never talked to such a large group of people with such a huge heart for wanting to teach people and pass their knowledge on to others who want to learn.
I think that's
And
the really beautiful thing about homesteaders is
yeah,
it's all about community and stuff. And those of us who are making a living on it, it's usually with other things besides just the teaching.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's more of a cottage industry. And that's
Hmm.
the industry was what the backbone was of this country long before the industrial age started. Every town had whatever you needed. And I can see that it's going back to that. Every small
Yeah.
town, you're able to get close and local what you need for your family and your needs as it should be. And rather than having to have something shipped to you thousands of miles away, it's coming back close to home again, which is wonderful to see that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, a community can't be sustainable when nothing is produced there.
right. And we've seen what that's like. We've seen what the big corporate grocery stores look like when the shelves were cleaned out like locusts had been in there.
Hmm.
It's when your food economy is local, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly. Are you looking for new ways to advertise your business? I would like to invite you to advertise your business on the Homestead Education Podcast. Did you know that 60% of listeners will make a purchase after hearing an ad on a podcast? Why is this? Because personal connections and credibility from someone they truly trust will give you the best conversions. My podcast has been on the air for over 3 years now, and with an average of 5,000 downloads per episode and tons of long term listeners, you're bound to have somebody who will find that credibility in me. All ad spots will be promoted on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my weekly newsletter. I have podcast sponsorship spots available that are affordable for all business sizes. And all advertising revenue will be used towards my educational outreach in the form of travel costs, curriculum development, supplies, and the administration of such activities. Go to my show notes now or visit thehomesteadeducation.com/podcast dash sponsorship. I hope to hear from you soon.
So it's
And you're getting
exciting to
better
see.
products that last longer too. Like
And
you can stretch the meals longer.
well, not only that, you have peace of mind. You know that what you're cooking is not been poisoned and hasn't had 50 different ingredients added to it that
Right?
shouldn't be there. Um, it's that sense of calm and that sense of peace of mind that when you're feeding your family, you know you're doing your best and you don't have to worry about being poisoned on the flip side.
Yeah.
Um, it's a very different world that I've watched transpire into something very ugly and hideous, and now it's going back to the way it used to be. It's going back to that old-fashioned way of living with the clean food again. Um, I don't know how many more people you want me to talk about in the event, but
No. Well, is there anything else going on at the event? Like, are you having like what's the event going to look like?
there's going to be the speakers. There'll be two different sessions a day. There'll be two locations of where speakers are going to be, and then there'll be exhibitors coming in as well too. A lot of them from the local area. That are coming in and bringing in their farm products, their homestead products. We've got food trucks coming in that are serving healthy food, which has been a
Wonderful.
challenge to
Yeah.
find. But fortunately, and unfortunately, I found out after I already set the date for our event that there's a huge food truck festival going on up at Kalispell. So that took a lot of the food trucks out of play.
Yeah.
So but anyway, I've got who I'm supposed to have, and there'll be good, healthy food that people won't have to worry about what they're putting in their mouths while while they're there.
That's
It
good.
was
I'm
a
always
challenge.
so frustrated when I go to a homestead event and my only options are like, funnel cakes to eat. And I'm like, well, okay.
That's an oxymoron to me.
Yeah.
It's like you're talking about healthy food, and then you're bringing in
Yeah, and
greasy
I'm like, I'm not
garbage.
saying that like when I take the kids to the fair every year that isn't like, okay, kids, we're getting a corn dog and funnel cakes and let's enjoy our fair weekend?
No, it's no, that was one of the things I was adamant about. I'm like, I'm not gonna be speaking out of two sides of my mouth. I'm not gonna do
Hmm.
that. So we've got a truck coming in that's called Fire and Dough, and they're out of Kalispell, and he actually makes real Neapolitan pizzas, and the dough
Ooh,
is fermented for 72 hours.
wow.
Um, so it's gonna be, and he doesn't load it with a bunch of garbage either. He does it the real Italian way. So this is gonna be what you might call a healthy pizza, the personal pizzas, and then we've got barbecue. We're going to be having a barbecue truck there. And then we also have a gentleman coming from Helena who the name of his food truck is Double Barrel um, Ice Cream. And he is going to be making ice cream the old fashioned way. He's bringing a trailer with big ice cream churns on it to where
Oh, wow.
the kids can actually see how ice cream should really be made. Um, and I talked to him a long time and I said, I want this to be as educational as possible so that the kids understand all they do is see it come in a container out of the store. Most kids don't know how ice cream is made. So he's bringing the whole rig with him so that the kids can actually see how ice cream is really churned. It's going to be fresh with high quality milk, so it'll not only be healthy for them in a sense, but it'll be done the old-fashioned ways too. And then I'm talking to another gentleman that's locally bringing in a truck that's going to have all produce and food off of his farm as well too. So it'll be healthy food. It's
That's
not going to be,
wonderful.
yeah. It's, like I said, it's been a challenge. Um, Next year we'll be able to have more of this because it'll be one. We're going to move it away from where the food truck festival is, just so I can get. There's a lot of healthy food trucks available, but I just couldn't get them because
Mm,
they had
yeah,
already committed to that. So we'll have a better variety next year.
that's perfect. So, where's the event going to be located? What's the dates? Give me all the rundown. How do I get tickets?
Yeah, you can buy tickets online on our website at
Well, I
Montana
better already
Homestead.
have a ticket, but you know.
Right. If your listeners would like to buy a ticket, they can go to our website at montanahomesteadersfestival.com. And it's right on the front page of the website. You just scroll down and you can hit a tab and it'll take you to where you can buy your tickets. And the tickets are $50 for 2 days.
That's a
And
great
children's
price.
children's tickets are $15. I can't remember right now what the age is, but it's on the website. One of the things I wanted to do was make this affordable for the people that needed to be there.
Hmm.
I I I even have a hard time charging the $50, but I have expenses to pay to do this. So
Oh, absolutely.
if there weren't expenses, I wouldn't be charging. I just would want as many people to come as possible, but we have to cover the bills in order to make this happen. But it's going to be at the Sanders County Fairgrounds in Plains, Montana, which is just north of St. Regis. Um, and just a little bit further north from where Quinn's Hot Springs is. So it's a very beautiful area. The fairgrounds is right alongside the Clark Fork River, and there's a swimming area right there that's adjacent to where the fairgrounds is. So if it's a warm, hot day and you want to take the kids over to the river, they can go swimming there in the river as well at the park.
And
Um,
it's so beautiful there. Just gorgeous.
It is very peaceful, and it's kind of like the epitome of where homesteading should be. So,
Hmm.
and it's surrounded by a lot of beautiful orchards in that area. It's kind of like a banana belt area in
Yeah.
parts of Sanders County. So there's lots and lots of orchards around that area. Um, but the dates of the festival are going to be June 20 and 21. Um, we're going to do setups on Thursday, which is the 19th. So if anybody wants to come in early and set up, and we still have exhibitor space available if anybody wants to come in and be an exhibitor. And there is limited full RV hookup, and there is still a lot of dry camping available as well too. There's showers on the property available, and there's restrooms there as well too. So pretty much everything that you need is just right there.
Well, that is perfect. Because yeah, it is a small town, so planning for a place to hang out is great, having all this camping area and stuff. And it's really like a good central location for parts of Idaho and some of the larger towns in Montana. So that's a really
Right.
great location to have that in.
And that fairgrounds property is absolutely stunning. It's full of huge trees, lots of shade trees. It's well manicured. It's the property has a peace about it when you go there. It's just, well, like I said, the river's running right next to it. So
Hmm.
you've got that right there too. But lots of trees, lots of places where you can sit in the grass in the shade and just soak it in and enjoy it. It's a beautiful, beautiful fairgrounds. I just can't say enough about it. It's
Every
just,
time we drive by, the kids go, "Why can't our fairgrounds look like that one?"
I know it. I know it. Well, and that's why we saw that it had the campfire ring, and they've got swings that they put up around the campfire ring.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
that's why I said we're going to make use of that. We're just going to have a peaceful, quiet ending to each day, and let people just kind of chill out around the fire. So.
Oh, that's
Um,
perfect.
I just am looking very forward to it.
Yeah. Well, as we're kind of getting to the end of our time, my favorite question to ask everybody is, what does keep growing mean to you?
Keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it just to me, it just means. keeping your mind open to what possibilities may present themselves in front of you, and don't be afraid to step into it. Um, I had this conversation with somebody not too long ago that being an entrepreneur for a lot of years, coming out of corporate, it was a hard transition, but you're terrified of stepping off of that cliff of because they get you so fearful of going away from the corporate lifestyle. But once you step off of that cliff, it's like this wasn't so bad after all. And then however many times you decide to do it after that, you don't even think about it anymore. It just almost becomes second nature as far as trying new things, opening your mind up to what could potentially be. Don't close
Hmm.
yourself off. Don't be afraid. If you're unsure of it, talk to some people that might have some knowledge in whatever it is being presented to you. Because more often than not, people not only will, sometimes they'll give you good advice, sometimes they won't, but listen to your gut. If something resonates with that fire in the belly that you have, then you know you should be going further with that. And that's what keeps people in a forward motion. Don't look back. Always look forward and keep growing and looking at new opportunities to where you can help each other, love on each other. Um, just extend a helping hand to anybody or just a shoulder to lean on when they need it. It's the simple things in life. It's not complicated.
Right? Well, I thank you so much for what you are doing for our regional community and what you're like trying to build for us. And like, I mean, I even wrote it down, bringing clean local food. And
Yeah,
I'm so excited to be able to get over there. And I hope that so many people hear this, see it on, social media or their news channels and the radio, and that you just are totally sold out and can continue doing this for the foreseeable future because I love the movement that we have seen across the whole country, and I'm so excited to have it here.
yeah, we're heading in the right direction, and my husband and I are blessed to be part of it, and that we can still contribute at our age. So we look forward to everybody being there. We look forward to building a new family, um, and just lifting each other up with loving advice and encouragement.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to make sure I link everything in the show notes and can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, looking forward to it, Kody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for joining me today at the Homestead Education, and I hope that I have given you something to think about this week. To help others find me, please comment and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. You can also follow me on Facebook at the Homestead Education and Instagram at Homestead_education. Do you have questions that you would like answered or just want to say hi? Please email me at hello@thehomesteadeducation.com. Until next time, keep growing!